like, give me Nausicaa.
Okay. So, with that, this is meant to be a bit of a silly stream. I got some fun questions through text message from a couple people, but this is to... I hit 430 subs, and so it became a let's do a Goss with Gregg session. So it can be any variety of Q&A.
No, she is.
It is. It's basically what it is.
It is, but she's really locked into that video game, and also, so yeah,
I know.
it has become a regular
sound
thing
if you
with
touch
the club.
True.
So if you've got a T-shirt, the best thing to do is just pinch it and clip it to the front. Yeah. As opposed to your collar, but that works too. Especially if you want to show a little bit of that neck, you know.
Gregg!
It was a joke because he's got a T-shirt neck.
thanks.
Like, come on,
No.
come on. Yeah.
You ever seen those?
What do people say? We're getting canceled for this? I'm joking.
Oh,
So
boy, Gregg.
Oh, brother.
anyway, this guy.
You never
So
seen those neck cream commercials?
so the first neck cream.
I can't even think about
The
that
first
right
question
now.
I'll answer because it's just a story basically. So short version to the question of like meeting my wife and how did I know she was the one is I'll just tell the story of it and then you can infer however you like. But I had a major life change and I went on MySpace, which I had an account for at the time. I was trying to find people to talk about stuff with. And my wife had a really cool article about just living life healthy and that sort of thing. And so I ended up liking the article. So I reached out and I messaged her at what was 1 o'clock my time in Texas. And she responded the next morning. And it was funny because she basically said, look, I get people asking to have conversations. I think my opening line was like, hola, que pasa? Because her name is Yolanda, but I didn't know it was because she was French Canadian and it worked, so it doesn't matter. So her side of it, she looked at my profile and saw that my closest friends were like my mom and my sisters, and she wanted someone who wasn't just a weirdo because she'd had guys reach out to her before who had like all the bikini chicks lined up as the first 6 friends or whatever. So all that to say, we started talking back and forth online, and then 6 weeks later we started talking on the phone, and then 6 weeks after that I flew out to visit her, she flew out to visit me because I was getting to do some teaching at the time, and it was like my first time doing it. So she's like, I want somebody. She wanted to be there and be supportive, and then I flew out 6 weeks after that. So it's a series of 6-week things. And so by the time, that was March, by the time September came around, I had decided I was going to move out to California where she was at, because I was in Texas, and she was in California. And I wasn't looking for a girlfriend, I was trying to grow as a person. And that was something and we were kind of trying to grow in the same direction. So we got through, so I basically drove from Texas to California in 24 hours, and she had an idea that I was planning on doing that when my lease was up, but I wanted to surprise her because it was around her birthday in September. And so I literally drove through the night with all my stuff packed into like an old Ford Escort. But yeah, it was basically one of those things where there's a lot more detail to it here, but the fast version is this. And then, so 9 months later, we were married. So, yeah. And then, yeah, that was 18-ish years ago. So yeah, that's the short version. So when people ask like what made that seem like a good decision and not just impulsive, it was that I was looking, and as we talked, I found someone that I was interested in as a whole person, that I saw us heading that I knew what direction I was trying to go in, and she knew what direction she was trying to go in, and we found that it was the same direction. Like that's kind of, and that on top of that, we generally could stand each other's presence most of the time. Whether that's still true right now, no, I'm kidding. She wouldn't like if I joked that way. But
Says that she's off at camp.
Yeah, she's like in California right now. So she's being a counselor at a camp, and then I go in 2 weeks. Anyway, so that was the first question I'll answer because, yeah. So I have some other ones in text message, but since you guys are here, do you have any random questions you want to try and stump me with or throw me off with? Did you tell Mario about pizza?
I think he was.
Did you go and make sure? Like, is he like, I got it?
Yes.
Okay. Did you tell him it's Domino's and it's 9 minutes away?
No, I just said he ordered the pizza and he's like, oh yeah, he said in 10 minutes, right?
Oh, my caramba.
Cool. So anyway, so since you guys are here, any random questions you want to ask as a Goss with Gregg session?
Did you know you have the same mannerisms as Brendan Lee Mulligan when you talk?
I haven't gotten Brennan Lee Mulligan. Technically, since I'm older than him, he has mannerisms like me. He's just more famous.
That's true.
I have gotten Dwight from The Office before, though, with the right hairstyle and when I'm wearing glasses and question. Yeah.
You look good when you wear glasses.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
I'm just not used to it.
Okay. So, any questions from people at the table right now, or are you just hanging out for funsies? Hi, Clara.
I had the questions that I sent you. That was it.
Go show her. Go show Clara the stuffy. Okay,
You found the
so.
bug gremlin best friend.
Okay, so I got questions from. I'm going to go in order of receiving these earlier. So yours came after these other ones.
Yeah.
So actually, I'll mix them all up. Actually, here we go. I'm going to juggle all the questions and flip back and forth.
I realized halfway through, I was like, oh yeah,
It's
this
okay.
is a little late.
Okay, so let's see. Do you think so? Two of them were about language, and then one was like if you're reincarnated as an animal. So those were some of the questions I got. So what's your favorite word in every language you know? I'll say in French, I like je t'adore because it means I love you, and or it means I adore you. And when Adela was like 4, she thought I said shoot the door, and she just and we got it on video. She just started cracking up. She's like, shoot the door, blah! And so that was like 9-10 years ago. So that one's fun, je t'adore. I can't. I think there's. There is a Russian word that means red square, but sounds like BS in English, and so that's a funny word. But I have other ones. German, I like to say ein paar Kekse, which literally means like cookies or crackers, and I think it's just one of those that stuck. This is a silly question. So, do I think learning a different language is better for someone? Betters someone, and if so, why? Yes. I don't know that this counts as a Goss with Gregg session, but it's with the questions that were sent, right? Yeah. And so yeah. Actually, I realized. So with that, so yes, absolutely. Not just because I teach second language and multilingual, but because any language you learn, whether it's another version of English or another language, helps you connect with more people at a deeper level. And there were times when I worked construction where knowing some Spanish, or where I worked in even just like the grill at McDonald's, where knowing some Spanish allowed me to connect with them and people who were Spanish speaking in those environments a lot better. And I saw a lot of people be rude to speakers of other languages. And so that was one of the reasons why I started studying that a little more. It also fights dementia, and yeah, so there's like dementia and Alzheimer's. Learning other languages, kind of keeping that a lifelong practice, helps rejuvenate your brain in a really interesting way. So there's some good studies there. I don't know what they must be doing Mario Kart over there.
They're playing tennis.
Tennis. Oh, okay. So
That's the most.
that's fun. I'll save the other. So I'm going to switch back and forth here. So let's see. Oh yeah. So, how do you define success was an interesting question, because it's like, do you mean if we're talking generally or if we're talking very specifically? To be successful, you have to have actually set a goal, and so whatever your goal was, if you accomplish your goal, that's success.
This is what I get.
But let's say, to give me something to riff off of, what if someone asked you how do you define success, Stone? What would you say?
I would say for success, my goal for success is to get into the nursing program, pass it.
Okay.
And pass the class.
Okay. So if someone says like, "Are you successful?" You're like, "Not until I get into the nursing program. I will feel like a failure."
I wouldn't say, well, yeah. Yes.
If I never or until I am, I'll feel like a failure.
No, until I'm into the nursing program, which I'm sure I will be.
That one has a rough.
And and I pass, which
Go tell him the pizza's ready to get picked up.
after studying,
Yep.
I'll feel like a success.
Okay. After studying, you'll feel like a success if you have the credential or because you successfully studied.
Because I successfully studied, learned the material, passed the test, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah. And so success is a hard thing to be like to say I am successful unless you have a targeted goal. And so for me, like, one of the things that was weird is like when I was getting my bachelor's, I was working 40, 50 hours a week, construction at the same time, and master's. And then I started the PhD. And at each step along the way, everyone's like, every time I got a degree or had a publication, people were like, oh my gosh, aren't you excited? And I'm like, by the time I got to the actual goal and like the thing that other people would be able to see as a marker of success, it was just another day at the office. So like my family had to remind me to celebrate when I got my master's and when I got my PhD, because I was just like, it was the thing along the way that signaled others rather than it was rather than me feeling successful. So it's Domino's it's the one up here off of Ray and Gilbert.
Oh, I know where it is.
And so, and you might have to tell them to cut the pizza slices in half, because sometimes they do it in like 6 slices for the big pizzas.
Yeah.
That's all. Yeah.
Alright.
It should be under Greg. It should be under Greg Fields or Yolanda Fields.
Greg Fields or Elon.
Yeah.
Got it. I know which Domino's it is.
Thanks, man.
Thanks, man.
Quit it.
Why?
Did you say thanks, man, to make fun of me? Because I just said it.
No.
All right. I'm like, what did I do? Gosh, Gavin. No. So the short answer then for am I successful in any, generally speaking, like what counts as success? To me, at a core, it's am I growing? Am I adding value with the things I'm doing? Or am I going to get to a place by learning or growing that will add value to others? I've heard it said like, am I being poured out as an offering for others? Is kind of a fancy way of saying it that gets up probably a little more spiritual than is meant. But yeah, that's kind of the mindset I try and have. So I am successful if I feel like the things I'm doing are in that realm.
That's a good way to think of it.
I like it.
Probably means staying the same.
So let's see. Do dreams have deeper meaning?
Why are you picking off of my question?
Okay,
I wasn't gonna out you. I said I was bouncing all
fine with it.
around.
The first one was.
What do you? So Clara, we're in the Goss with Gregg session right now. So we'll do a little bit longer, and then if Tegan shows up, we'll shift. So do dreams have deeper meanings? What do you guys think? And then I'll give my take on dreams.
Yes, they do.
I don't think they do. I've had some crazy dreams
I think they just reflect
when I
your
was
conscious.
younger, and none of them happened in real life.
Okay.
They just reflect your brain.
Okay. Gavin, thoughts on dreams? Do they have meaning when you dream?
Shoot, my dreams are like a drug trip.
Okay.
Same.
See, yes, because a lot of the times I'll have dreams, and then what happens, I don't know if it's just because it's my subconscious or what it is, but and then something like similar that happened in my dream ends up happening in real life, and I'm like, I don't know, this is creepy.
It's like, I don't know what it's called. It's like something blue. I don't know what it's called. Right
Voodoo?
now.
No.
Pre-deja vu or something.
Oh, yes.
Voodoo.
Like
Is that what you
deja
meant?
vu.
Is deja vu? Like those? I mean, voodoo might, but I couldn't say because I don't practice that. But
Most of my dreams I don't remember, but some of them I do.
Oh, wow.
so like most things, I take a complex look at this. So I think there are some dreams that just come because we are nervous and stressed, and our body. Like I think there's good research to say that like the things that our body uses the sleep time we have and REM cycles and stuff to process the stresses of the day or the worries we have, and I think that can play out in our dreams. I think there's fun stuff from Freud and Jung about what power dreamscapes have. I also think sometimes sometimes it's just like our brain is in a playground moment. I will also say that I think teaching mythology, a lot of beliefs around the world do tie some value to dreams sometimes. And so there are some cultures that see dreams as a way of projecting the future. There are if we're going to talk about things that would affect, that would be believed by a couple billion people, if we jump into like the Bible, Joseph in the Old Testament had dreams that saved, that he was able to, actually the Pharaoh, not the Pharaoh, hold on. So Joseph in Genesis, Pharaoh has dreams. Joseph is in prison. Joseph interprets the dreams and ends up being called, and Pharaoh calls Joseph to come help save Egypt and the surrounding countries because he was able to interpret the dreams that there was going to be a famine, 7 years of plenty and 7 years of famine. There's another place in the New Testament where, I think it's like Acts 2, where dreams are given this like spiritual, in the latter days, what's the saying? Acts 2, I think it says, quoting a prophet, says, I will pour out my spirit and young men will see visions and old men will dream dreams. So if we're talking about do dreams have power, from psychology we can say it's at a minimum it's some of the ways that we process the challenges we have, and then we know that there are a variety of mythologies and spiritual influences that might say yes, dreams absolutely have impact, and sometimes they are from a much higher, more powerful being, supposedly, So the Bible would indicate that dreams are a way that God would give prophecy. So, and you can decide where in that spectrum or what the blend of that is. So, I think that it's very possible that that kind of stuff all matches. Whether that aligns with a very logic-oriented worldview or not, dreams are kind of outside the normal purview, though there's some fun research. Let's see. Any follow-up questions on that as I've showed? What was it?
I would say I don't have nightmares.
I wish I did.
You don't have nightmares?
Not since I was like 10.
I haven't had a nightmare since I was like 19 or 20, and there was a meaningful life moment when it stopped, so it was cool. It was like a moment where I shifted. It was good.
I feel so sad. I still have them.
I don't remember the last.
I have a reoccurring one.
I don't do as much dreaming these days outside of regular life. Even then, I don't have dreams. I have visions and goals.
I know what you mean.
And then like somebody broke into my house, but it was just my dream, and I wake up to that.
Yeah. Now, my wife dreams all the time. And like for the first 10 years of our marriage, it was like she'd wake up and be like, I had this terrible dream and my husband wasn't in it and you were supposed to be there. And I'm like, I was here though. And she's like, but I'm sad.
I would pull Yolanda
so it was very regular, yeah. So it was very regular thing. Let's see.
And I just don't care.
You don't care about?
Huh? No, I was just saying that like in half of my dreams I die. I just don't care. I think that's why I don't get nightmares, because I don't care about my dreams enough to even remember them.
When I was very young, my mom and the short time that I had a stepdad, they worked for a haunted house. And
that's nightmare fuel.
And me and my sister would get scared when they took us to work because there was a long like hallway that looks, the Bradshaw bathroom hallway over here. It's like that, but imagine it like industrial doors on both ends, and imagine it lined with haunted house masks. And so 5 years old, 6 years old, we were scared, or 4, 5, 6. And so my stepdad at the time thought it would be good to do some binge watching of scary movies. So we watched all the Friday the 13th and Nightmare on Elm Street. Speaking of dreams, so Nightmare on Elm Street as a 6, watching like 4 of those movies straight, where he's like going into people's dreams. I learned to wake myself up from scary dreams too. So there was that too.
Oh my God,
I
just
wish.
remembered a nightmare.
I have the same reoccurring one, and I hate it so much.
What happens?
I get killed by a taekwondo baby.
A taekwondo baby? Is it?
That's
That reminds me of like Ally McBeal from the 90s. There used to be the dancing baby, thing.
Like it comes and tries to shoot arrows at me.
I have nightmares. I'm just.
It sounds like you're being haunted by Cupid or something.
This
I don't
is
know
the
what
only
it is.
nightmare I remember dreaming about, and it's about this movie.
The
Nightmare
not
House.
the monster
Yeah,
house.
the Monster House.
I had a nightmare about a doll
It's a whole
one
movie,
time.
but that
It was
so
terrifying.
funny, yeah.
Well, see, then there's like the realistic nightmares of like my dad chasing me around my house.
I just watched Doctor Who too much.
Hi,
Hello.
Tia. What up?
Hi, Tina.
Tegan.
So,
Jeez,
the first things were
sorry.
almost there. Let's see. So as far as the next question, I was sent, if you were to be reincarnated as an animal, which animal and why. Parameters are you're born as that animal and will live the lifespan and face the dangers. You will remember being a human. You will have instincts, and it's completely random what situation and place you're born into.
This person hates hypotheticals.
Oh yeah.
So this is like you have to live the entire time, not just what's your favorite animal. So I can appreciate the question. So one, traditionally my first thought would be like, oh, I love red pandas, they're so cute. But I realized they're kind of lazy. Like they eat for like 2 hours a day, and then they have to sleep because they eat bamboo, which has like their body has to process it's basically that. And they don't play, so they basically play. So I was thinking about this. I'm like, if I had to live, it'd be like, okay, wolves are actually really social creatures, and they take care of each other. I was also thinking badgers are really industrious. Not badgers. What are the ones who build dams?
Beavers.
Beavers, yeah. So yeah.
Man forgets beaver.
Brother.
Oh, brother.
So, yes. So yeah, those, I think if I had to do that. Now, I do have a challenge with this question for a couple reasons. Being reincarnated specifically as an animal, in most of the mythologies around the world or belief systems that believe in reincarnation, that is a downgrade. It means that, like, because reincarnation, it has, like, that's how we get caste systems of humans, and then if you're really bad, you start going into animals and bugs. And so reincarnation as a thing, I don't really believe in. Partially because it ends up emphasizing what I'll call a works mentality, where it's like I can earn better than if I just am good enough, and I don't think people are ever good enough. In one sense of the word, in one way of thinking. So that's a different question. But as far as reincarnation goes, I would say it'd be cool to be an animal, but reincarnation means that I did something really bad now that I was being punished, that like the next life punishment was to be reborn as an animal, which is a lower tier.
No.
In the most popular version of reincarnation as a belief system.
If you're short, you speak
Yeah. That doesn't mean I have to. But yes is the short answer. So to your question. To your question, short answer is yes. So let's see, and that will tie in with another question I got, which is fate a real thing? Though I'll ask you guys, do you want me to answer? I have two questions left. Is fate a real thing, or how do you know when to make the first move are the two questions I have. Which do you want the answer for?
About this question in
How do you
anthropology
make the
too.
first move?
How do you make the first move? All right, instead of is fate a real thing. So how do you know when to make the first move is different than how do you make the first move. So the question is, how do you know when? The thing is that if you're moving in the same direction, it won't feel like it's a first move. If you and the other person, if we're speaking relationship-wise or friendship-wise, like if you're not just going up to some random person that you find attractive or nice, that you've never met before, you are being you in the things you would want to do. And then you happen to keep looking around and seeing the same person not because they're trying to manipulate or be in the place with you because they're stalking you, but because they actually care. And so, the best way is really to find out you're walking in the same direction as someone else and go, aha, hey, look, we're walking in the same direction. Do you want to take this step together? Like that's what making the first move means.
Don't you dare.
Alternatively, watch my, actually I don't know if that's in the videos, never mind. So how do you know when to make the first move? You can't know, unless, sometimes you just have to make a move. You can try and read signals, you can try and not be creepy, you can try and not have red flags.
Try
but you
is
also,
the
like,
word.
sometimes what is it? Vanessa Van Edwards talks about in dating situations to signal allergies. So early on in situations where you have something you know is a deal breaker for you or something you know could be a deal breaker for someone else, and you bring that up, like something you're not going to let go of for another person, you bring up. And if they have a problem with that, well, then it's really easy to know that, so then you can kind of, before you make a move, you can test the waters a little bit with things like that. But if you're generally getting along well with somebody, and both of you are healthy, and you have space in your life, like there's a lot of questions. If you have space in your life, then either person could choose to say, let's take a step together, even if it's just like for 4 hours of a day or for an hour of coffee or whatever. Yes. But generally, I encourage, like, when it comes to making the first move, I always encourage people to have good, like, start by making sure you're good, healthy, and becoming wiser and developing character, which isn't really the make the first move answer to a traditional answer to that question. But sometimes you just make a move. I found an art, like, it's a terrible example, but it was true for me that I went looking for something else, found that my wife wrote a really cool thing that I thought was cool, and said, "Hey, can we talk?" And that was all it was. And without the intention of being romantic, because we were in different states, and I was intentionally not having a girlfriend because I was focusing on growing myself and making sure I was successful and healthy. So yeah.
So like asking someone out on a date would be your first move?
So asking someone out on a date would be, it depends. Like it could be a first move or it could be a natural transition. So like when I teach, what happened?
I don't know. She's saying something in Russian. I couldn't read it.
Das Vidanya. No. So
Dude, it's the same color as the floor too.
what did we lose?
She flipped the smallest bow piece onto the floor. So I don't know where it is.
That's
now.
cruel. That's cruel.
Yeah, I guess you don't have a bow now.
No!
Oh, her bow's gone from her mini.
You didn't need that anyways.
Nah.
Yeah, but that was my backup mini.
Think of it. The bow's gone now that baby can't kill you anymore.
We don't know where the bow went.
I should have not admitted that out loud.
Alright, I guess it's a
So-
third party.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, just get down low and shine some
I
light.
went like that
Yeah,
to
yeah.
flick it at him.
Well, that's one way you could try and hand off a very small plastic piece. If we're
I didn't.
all right, I will let you guys deal with the bow situation.
Can I play D&D with you today?
Maybe. Let me think about it. I think I have one more question to answer.
It's gone forever.
So-
buddy. You should get your flashlight out. Oh, never
As-
mind.
okay,
I'm done.
gonna before I
I'm
get
done.
distracted. So as far as
Right,
actually making the first dating move, you have to be willing to be rejected and be okay with that. So if you're in a place where you can in a healthy way go, I'm interested in you, but I totally get it if you're not interested in me, and you can move and you don't think you'll be upset about that, that's a great time to make a first move. If you know that it will hurt and you don't know if you can handle that, well then there's probably other things you need to work on for you, because that would not be healthy for the other person. A lot of people are so focused on finding the best mate or the best date that they forget that if they're not in a place, that it's not going to actually be a benefit or value to the other person. So that doesn't mean you have to be perfect to date. I'm just saying, like, our emphasis should be on making us better so that others gain value through the interaction with us.
You
It's
should be happy it's gone.
The bow.
no, that was
I
my
don't-
other. That was the other part of my mini.
Her
My
mini
other.
broke.
Yeah, it was part of my other mini.
Hermione. Not to be confused with
Right.
Hermione.
But do tell me about your dreams if the baby doesn't have a bow anymore.
Or does it have a bow up here instead of a bow? Does it no longer aggressive?
It has. A
But
bow.
it like transforms now. It will be a bow on its head this time.
Maybe it's stuck on one of your shoes. Did you
It
think
will
that?
find me some other way.
no.
It's killed me not just with a bow in these dreams, but like literally has beat me to death.
That's disturbing.
Small.
No, but see, my dad owned a taekwondo, and this baby was like emotionally attached to my dad. So the only way they could get it from not killing me was to like keep it in a room.
Wait, so this is a dream you had where your dad and the baby are conspiring?
Yes.
Bro, that's some trauma. you
That's
live with.
deep.
That is deep.
This is why Gregg is now my dad.
No, that's
Greg, your
that's
dad could
no.
have a new child.
On live stream, I have to say no, but I'm happy to be present in your life.
Denied. Denied.
We'll say hi to your
Thanks.
No.
So the last thing was, is fate a real thing? And I assume that because it's in the context of kind of the making the first move question, is fate a real thing in dating? Well, I think fate is a real thing as far as like, do we have a path? Is it like there's someone guiding? I do believe that there's someone guiding for good our lives, even if it's not always good at the time, that all things are worked together for good in the long run.
Right, like,
And that there is a plan.
like Dakota losing her bow.
Maybe, maybe that's it. So I do think fate is a real thing. I also believe that that whatever the path is, we won't know that it's fated, but the one that happens is the one that happens. And while we can't choose what happens to us, we can choose how we engage with it and how we deal with it. So sometimes people talk about nature and nurture. And so if fate's a real thing, it means that we were designed for a purpose, and we also are given a specific context for a purpose. If fate's a real thing. But a lot of times nature and nurture, we forget agency, and part of what we're supposed to do in those contexts is choose.
That's a feather.
I'm trying to rush this so we can get to the other stream.
Right there.
That's
All
something
right.
else.
I think that's all the questions. Did you guys have any other questions? I'm not sure this counts fully as a Goss with Gregg session, but maybe we have to ask the questions at like 9 at night or something.
Yes.
The floor was
You're gonna get some unhinged ones.
Were there any other unhinged questions? Is that what you called them?
Yeah.
Are there any other unhinged questions anyone wants to ask me or try and throw me off here?
No, none that I can say.
No?
I literally Googled life questions to ask.
Nice.
I came up with like part of
Nice.
So stupid.
Listen, sometimes, no, yeah.
I just
yeah.
needed inspo, and then it went.
Yeah. Well, this I'll add to my playlist because I did like answering Inquiring Minds playlist that has like student questions because I have students text me. And so I'll add this to it because it counts. And there's some fun ones in there too. But yeah. All right. Well, that's it. Hey, Noella. Do you... Before I end this Goss with Gregg stream, do you have any questions you want me to answer so you can watch later? Figured I'd check? No? Okay. Pizza's here. With that, internet. Have fun.
Thank you.